only to walk again, but to run marathons. Not only to speak again, but become a much sought-after motivational speaker, coach, and mentor. Her personal style and fun-loving, genuine approach to life have been warmly received by audiences around the world. Pamela inspires movement in all areas of people's lives and inspires them to become their best. And before I announce the last thing, I just want to say, we've had Pamela actually come and speak to our group at the national conference that Julie mentioned, and she's spoken a few times and we've seen her, and she's absolutely inspirational and wonderful, and we think you're going to enjoy her. And she is a Wonder Woman. So, Pamela Crim.
Today, and they didn't give me a spot, so I'll just take my own opportunity and I will walk this walkway. And they said no smiles. Yeah. I always wanted to do that. That feels good. You guys awake? Ready to have fun? Right. Well, we are here today to celebrate the wonderful woman that you are. And the wonderful women in your life. Is anybody here today with one of the wonderful women in their life? Yes! Happy Mother's Day! Woo! It's our day to be spoiled rotten. So take advantage of it, ladies. Well, I am here today to show you that there is a little Wonder Woman inside of you. You see, I heard that God first made the earth, and He thought it was good. And then God made man, and He thought it was really good. But He knew He could do better. So He created women! Yes! Let me find my little clicker. I'm hoping it's still over here. Are we on, guys? Is it plugged in? Okay. Wonder Woman is the epitome of the perfect woman. I always wanted to wear a Wonder Woman costume, so when they asked me, Pamela, would you wear it because nobody else wants to? Yeah, it's been on my bucket list for years. You betcha I'll wear that baby. But she is the epitome of the perfect woman because she's strong and she's beautiful, she's intelligent, she has a soft side about her, and she has wicked, awesome red boots. Who wouldn't love Wonder Woman? So I'm sure you probably recognize the kind of legendary costume of Wonder Woman, right? You would recognize this anywhere. But I just wonder if you know the story behind Wonder Woman. And I wonder if the people who chose Wonderful Woman as your theme today, if they knew the story behind Wonder Woman and how perfect it is for this event today. You see, Wonder Woman was created in 1941, and she was created for a very specific purpose. I want to tell you a few stories today, so let me start out with the story of Wonder Woman. She was created in a time when the face of our country was going through major change because we were in the middle of World War II. Also, the women of our country were getting ready to go through major changes. Why? Because the men were at war. Women of our country at that time were largely just unnoticed and underappreciated housewives. They were used to staying home and wearing an apron all day and changing diapers and cooking dinner. And suddenly the men were gone and women had to be strong. So Wonder Woman was created to give these women a new character. Because the women of our country had to start living a new story. A story of power and strength and independence. So Wonder Woman was their inspiration. She inspired women of that time to be strong, to stand up and do things they had never done. They went from living in their aprons all the time to going and becoming the sole farmers growing the crops to feed their family as their men were away at war. They became expert craftsmen, building airplanes and ammunition, and I just love this real photo as she's in her polka dot dress, building bullets. I just love it. But you see, Their story had to change. It was a forced change. But when their story changed, they discovered there was a little Wonder Woman in them. And that's what I love about the story of Wonder Woman. A character can be anything from a villain, a sidekick. It can be the innocent victim, or it can be the hero. And Wonder Woman was a hero in a strapless leotard, and the world had never seen anything like her before. And she just couldn't have come at a better time. You see, does anybody know what her superpowers were? I love the superpowers of Wonder Woman. She could stop bullets with these big gold bracelets that she wore. She could leap like hundreds of yards at a time. She drove an invisible airplane. We all need one of those. And she had a magic lasso that would force her captives to speak the truth. I have asked for a magic lasso for Mother's Day. How much easier would that make your life, mamas? Who did it? Gotta tell the truth. Got my magic lasso. She battled the villains fearlessly, and she fought to keep the innocent protected. Those things are what made Wonder Woman's story. You see, Wonder Woman wouldn't have been needed if she would have lived on a perfect planet where there were no villains, no struggles, no problems. It was through her struggles and through her battles that she was given her character and her story. Your story and your character is brought about in the same exact way, through your struggles. And with those things, we all have hope that there's a little Wonder Woman inside of us. We all have a story. A story, I want you to think about what a story really is. A story is this. A story is a character who wants something and overcomes a conflict to get it. Wonder Woman wanted peace. She wanted to protect the innocent, so she had to overcome the conflict of the villains to get it. I want to ask you, what is it that you really want? And what conflict or struggle will you have to overcome to get it? It's time, ladies, to write your story and develop your character. In one of my favorite books, it's called A Million Miles in 1,000 Years, there's a story of a father who has a 13-year-old daughter. Anybody have teenagers in their houses? Woo, it's fun, isn't it? Well, this father found pot in his daughter's bedroom. Would that be a bad day? It would be a real bad day for my kid. But he found pot in his 13-year-old daughter's bedroom. You see, she was going out with a pot-smoking punk of a boyfriend, and now she was smoking with him. So the father did all the things that you would think of to do. He forbid her to see the boyfriend, he grounded her, he took away all her privileges, and guess what? Nothing worked. Nothing worked. It was like an impossible situation. What was he going to do? He realized his daughter was living a terrible story. Have you ever known of a teenager living a terrible story? There's a lot of them. You see, this dad, he thought about the story that his daughter was living and the character that she was playing within that story. And he realized partly he was at fault because he had not provided a better story for her to live in. He hadn't mapped out a story for his family. And so his daughter had chosen another story, a story of a pot smoker's girlfriend. But it was the only story offered to her. You see, she wasn't a bad girl. She was a good girl, caught up in a bad story. So what did this dad do? He decided it was time for his family to live a better story. So he stopped yelling at his daughter. And instead, he created a better story to invite her into. And remember, a story is a character who wants something and overcomes conflict to get it. So he wants to create this better story for his family. What could his family possibly want together? And at that time, he hears about this organization that's building orphanages in Mexico. That's what his family could want. So he signs his entire family up to sacrifice all their money and start building orphanages. And how do you think this news was received in his house? His daughter didn't speak to him for days, and neither did his wife, but guess what? After time, they each found their own character, and they came together with purpose. You see, because the dad offered a new story with risks and a way to help, his daughter started taking interest again. She left that pot-smoking boyfriend, and she became part of that family, and she found the Wonder Woman inside of her. See, we all have a story. Some of us are living a bad story because our lives are in turmoil and chaos. Our children are going astray, and we're not taking any risks. We're not helping anybody. We're totally bored with the gift of a new day. That's the sign that you're living a bad story. When a new day isn't a gift, it's another day just to survive. Time to rewrite the story. You see, my husband and I have 3 children, and we currently call El Paso, Texas home. And our children are at the age, they're all preteens, and we know the importance of writing and mapping out a good story for your family. So you know what we decided to do? Every kid, every mom, every dad, deep down, wants an adventure. You want risk. You need it in your life. So we decided to sell everything we own and give the rest of it away. And in 4 weeks, we're packing our suitcases and we're moving to the beach. For real, we are. Some call it crazy. I call it an adventure. It's a story that I get to give my kids. Guess what we're doing this summer? Family surf camp. Okay? My kids aren't going to be smoking pot. They're going to be surfing with their mom and dad because we know the importance of giving our children a story. I want to tell you a little bit more about my story. That's me, curly-headed little country girl. You can probably hear it in my voice. I grew up on a farm in southwest Missouri. Our farm actually began the summer of 1980. And it began at the Douglas County Fair. Anybody from one of those little towns that has the county fair every summer? It's like the event. Yeah. Well, our fair had what's called a pig scramble. Have you ever heard of a pig scramble? Oh, I see a hand back there. A pig scramble is where you take some poor innocent little pig and you just lather it up with lard, which is so wrong on every level. Put lard on the pig. You know what lard is? Great. So they lather this pig up with lard and they set it free in a pen with about 100 little country boys in overalls and cowboy boots. The winner is the one who catches the pig and holds on to it. What do you think the prize is? The pig is the prize. So my family left the left the fair that day with Dolly the pig, and we took her home and we built an entire farm around her. True story. That is how our farm began as a little girl. Now, I learned a lot of things on that farm. I learned how to drive a tractor and plant a garden and milk a cow and ride a motorcycle. I've got lots of stitches and scars to prove all my adventures on that farm. But you know what else I learned on that farm? I learned there's a little Wonder Woman in here. And I bet there's one in you too. Now there's something amazing that happens when you grow up in a tiny country town with a population of about 2,000 people. By about the 7th grade, every boy in your school is either your cousin or you've already dated him. Or worse, he's both. He's your cousin and you already dated him. So every summer before school would start, my little girlfriends and I would get together and we would stand in a circle. We would hold hands and bow our heads and pray the following prayer. Dear Lord, would you please send new boys to our school? And at the young age of 15, God clearly heard my prayers, and he uprooted an entire family from Dallas, Texas, and planted them smack dab in the middle of the Ozark Hills. And rumor had it that one of our new residents was a 17-year-old male. And there were heart flutters and radars set on high sensory. We didn't even know his name, so we called him New Boy. Girls are rough, I tell you. So New Boy was sought out, spotted, and stalked by more girls than just me. And my character at that time was the girl with the puffy bangs and the flipped up collar. And I was on a mission. You see, I wanted the New Boy. So, well, hold on, there we go. So, I knew the day that he agreed to wear matching jackets, I was surely the winner of his affection. He will never wear matching jackets with me again, I promise you that. So that was my story. And you fast forward 4 years into my story with New Boy, and we are newlyweds, living on love and ramen noodles, and life was everything it was supposed to be. But just a few months into our new life together, just a few months after that very photo was taken, my story would take a drastic change. I remember strange things about June 6th of 1995. I remember that I was wearing my favorite purple bra and hot pink shoes. I don't know why I remember that, but I do. I remember that I went to work early that day for no apparent reason. Should have been home alone. And I remember when I stood up from my desk at work, everything went black. And just like that, this healthy, happy 19-year-old newlywed was no longer able to walk or talk. Major turn in my story. 8 long hours go by, and the doctors discover there's a large blood clot lodged in my brainstem. It was a major stroke, and nothing would ever be the same again. The images showed masses of black in my brain, dead areas. They don't come back. My speech, my balance, my coordination, my reasoning, it was gone. Totally gone. And the doctors told my husband that they could expect his newlywed wife to be a vegetable. But you see, New Boy, he never left my side. He bathed me, he fed me, he brushed my hair, and after several weeks, true story, he grew really tired of my increasing manliness on my legs and even shaved my legs for me. When I talk to teenage girls and I ask them if they're in love, I ask them, would he shave your legs for you? If he wouldn't, he might not be the one. You see, this life of sickness, this life of defeat, it was offered to me as my story. But I had something very different in mind. So now it was time for me to change characters. Slowly, little by little, I learned how to speak and write again. And one step at a time, I learned how to walk again. That struggle, it had set the stage for my story. But it was my choice what role I wanted to play, if I wanted to be the innocent victim, or if I wanted to be Wonder Woman. And I decided I wanted to be Wonder Woman. You see, as a stroke survivor who had to learn to walk again, what could I do to change the story? What could I do? I could learn to run. You see, that's what a gal with a little bit of Wonder Woman in her would do. Hey, if you never try, you'll never know, right? I had never run a single mile in my entire life until I was 26 years old. Never. And at 26 years old, I decided I would be the hero. And 5 months after running my very first mile, I completed my very first marathon. I did the impossible. I got stronger and more powerful. And I've taught myself to run for over 5 hours non-stop to cross the finish line after 26.2 miles. They have to add in the 0.2 because you're about to die, the last 0.2. I created a new character to live the story that I wanted. I created a runner out of a girl that once couldn't walk. I created a runner out of a nearly 6-foot-tall girl in high school that became a cheerleader because basketball required running, and I would not run. And the coaches in my high school now are like, now you run? You wouldn't even play basketball. Now you run? You see, I created a runner out of a girl who had a little Wonder Woman in her. That's the story that I wanted, so I had to create it. We're not always handed the story we want. Sometimes we got to make it up ourselves. I can't change the health problems that I've been given, but I can control what I do with it. And so can you. I will not be the innocent victim. I will not be the villain. I will not be the tyrant. I will not be the pitiful has-been. I will be Wonder Woman. What will you be? Now, a few years down the road, a new stage is set for my story, and my husband and I have a little boy who's growing up as an only child, and we decided that we wanted more children. But at the same time, we wanted a little bit of adventure in our lives again. We wanted to help some children that maybe nobody else could help at that time. And so it was time to write some adventure into our story at an orphanage in Mexico. And there my story collided with a little girl. And I want you to hear her story. Someone help me with that chair real quick. This is Paola, everybody. Please meet Paola. Thank you so much. It's okay. Is it on? Yeah, I turned it on. Hello. That's on. Talk louder, baby.
Hi, this is my story. When me and my sister were little, our mom was only 16 years old. We lived on the streets in Mexico. We didn't have any money, and we were really hungry because we didn't have any food. We only had one pair of clothes and didn't have a bath. Life was kind of hard. We went to an orphanage, and it was really scary at first because we didn't know anyone there. But for the first time, me and my sister had a bed and a bath. Well, one day, this really tall lady came with her family to the orphanage and kept coming to see us. We really liked them. Me and my sister wanted them to be our mom and dad. We were really happy one day when they told us they were taking us to their home and going to be our mom and dad. Their house was like a mansion. They had a lot of food and a lot of chocolate because I like chocolate. Me and my sister had a bed and we had a shower to shower in. See, my story wasn't very good at first, but I decided to make it better because I have a little Wonder Woman in me. Thank you.
You see, we have the funniest stories about bringing Paola and her big sister Alexa home. We have funny stories of Mama was a nervous wreck because I didn't know what to do with little girls. And it's one thing if you give birth to a baby girl, you kind of have some time to figure it out, right? But we had 4- and 6-year-old little girls who didn't speak a word of English. And we didn't speak Spanish. So their first night at home with us, you probably remember this, Paola, their first night at home with us, I was nervous and emotional, and I wanted to make the girls feel welcome and feel comfortable in our home. Since, I mean, can you imagine being thrown into this environment where nobody speaks your language? And so I was trying to think, what in the world can I offer my girls to eat in Spanish? Well, we hadn't been in El Paso very long, so we didn't have burritos and nachos and tacos yet. So I look through the refrigerator and I find hot dogs. And I thought, okay, I know how to say hot, and I thought I knew how to say dog. Anybody speak Spanish in the room? Okay, you'll appreciate this. So I go to my daughters and I say, Mija, do you want mamacita to make you a perro caliente? Now, you did not roll your R correctly, and therefore, instead of offering a hot dog, you offered a hot fart. And it's no wonder they opted for spaghetti that night instead, right? I would have been really happy if that story would have ended there. I would have been happy ending, wonderful, we got our daughters, life is good. But no. It didn't end there. You see, we got custody of Alexa and Paola from the Mexican government, and we brought them home with us. Fast forward 4 years, and the girls were ours in every way, except for legally. And our file landed smack dab in the middle of all the corruption of Mexico. And they looked at us like just billionaires. And so they demanded more money in order for us to keep our girls. So what do you think we did? Honey, take the checkbook. Write it, whatever they asked for. So we give every penny we have. They ask for more money. So we start selling everything we own, piece by piece. Which makes it more easy to move now because we really don't have that much left. The nice bed's already gone, right, babe? Then they demand more, and we have nothing left to give. So they ask for our daughters back. 4 years. Tough times. That's a tough story to live. But you see, it was time for me to change my character again. Time to find that little Wonder Woman again. So that's exactly what I did. Put on my Wonder Woman costume again. Stayed night and day on the phone with every congressman you can imagine. Hired 7 attorneys. Packed our suitcases in a matter of 5 minutes to hide out with the girls as the Mexican government was looking for us. Remember that? That was an adventure, wasn't it? Yeah, it was a tough time for us. It was a really tough time. We ended up getting a restraining order against the country of Mexico. But it's possible. I want to ask you, what does Wonder Woman do when she's getting ready to go into a battle? Does she imagine losing? Does she imagine her death? The villain standing over her dead body. Finally, she's dead. Does she imagine her fall from glory? No. What does she imagine? Her victory, right? Wonder Woman would imagine the victory, the happy ending. And so, that's exactly what we began to do. Even in the middle of our toughest times of having to hide and hire another attorney who we had no money to pay, that's exactly what we did. We started focusing on our victory, our happy ending. So I started asking my daughters, what is it that you would want on adoption day? What is the victory that you imagine? And you know what they said?
Food fight!
Food fight. They're so my daughters. So for 9 more months, we battled and we struggled and we fought without certain victory for sure. There were times where we thought we had lost. But we focused on our food fight, didn't we? And we planned our food fight in detail, even when we didn't know if we would win. And last July, we got our girls. with Mommy and Daddy and 3 Crim kids standing outside of the courthouse, celebrating the biggest battle we had ever fought. So what do you think we did that night?
Food fight!
Food fight. Let me tell you, we know how to have a food fight. And should you ever want to have a food fight, I'll just clue you in. The best food to use for a food fight is instant mashed potatoes. There's one problem. When you use instant mashed potatoes and chocolate cake and mustard and ketchup and chocolate syrup, when they all mix together, cover your body, it smells terrible. See the girl in the pink swimsuit on the right-hand side? That's me gagging. I gagged the entire time. It stunk so bad. Whoops. But we had an amazing time. Didn't we, pal? Was that the victory you wanted? All right, baby, you're done. Good job, sweetie. You see, my little Paola, without a doubt, is a little Wonder Woman. We were brought together and our stories, they collided, and our stories demanded that we have strong characters. A character who could overcome all the conflicts that would be thrown our way. Our story demanded a Wonder Woman. We all have a story. And if you're living a life of ease where every day is just another day, it's not a good story. A perfect childhood for Paola would not have demanded her to be a little Wonder Woman. It was the tough start that created her character and gave her such a story. It was a stroke and learning how to walk and talk again that created my character and gave me my story. What is it that you want? And what character will you have to become to get it? In 1941, they needed a woman to step up and help fight the battle at home during World War II. So they created Wonder Woman. I know I'm in a room full of good stories because you know conflict, don't you? You've struggled. You know what it's like to fight a battle. Your battles with daily laundry and dishes and dinner and messes, it seems never ending, doesn't it? And then you throw on top of that a difficult relationship at home and maybe a job you don't enjoy and some financial struggles and teenage kids with an attitude and in-laws. And you have a story. There is your story. Just like my story crossed paths with the story of 2 little girls in an orphanage in Mexico, our paths have crossed today, and our stories collide. I'm here today to help you live a better story. You see, I started the Smokin Hot Mama Club 2 years ago to do just that. I wanted to help women live a better story. Because I found that all these women I was meeting and talking to and chatting with on Facebook, they weren't living a good story. They were living a story of stress and boredom with no hope. So I created the story of a Smokin Hot Mama. And that name just, we're not pole dancers, don't worry. But a Smokin Hot Mama is a woman who's daring and adventurous. A woman who's dared to dream of what she really wants in life again. A woman who recognizes that there's a little Wonder Woman in her. And now we have over 11,000 women in 32 countries living the story of a Smokin Hot Mama. Who wants to live that? Who wants to be a Smokin Hot Mama? You want to be a Smokin Hot Mama? Be proud of it. You want a story of adventure? I've got it for you. I can help you. I personally coach and mentor a small group of women each month. And I would love for you to be in that group. I believe the greatest gift that we can give our children is to show them an example of a life fully lived. A woman with a little bit of Wonder Woman in her. The story of a character who wants something and overcomes conflict to get it. The Smokin Hot Mama Club is a global movement changing women's stories, and you can be part of the movement. It can be part of your story. We can give your family a new story today. Now, I just want to share with you a few more things real quick since I get the stage and I get to be your mentor for the day. I want to tell you about 2 superpowers that every person in this room has. Do you know you have a superpower? You do. Let me tell you about one of them. One of them is called your reticular activator, and I think it's better than a magic lasso or an invisible plane. A reticular activator. Have you ever heard of it? Anybody? You didn't even know you had a superpower. Well, you do. Your reticular activator is a tiny part of your brain here at the base of your skull. And it acts like a filter to your brain. Think of it almost like your mind's gatekeeper. It takes in all of the information around you and it filters it. And it says either, yes, she wants to know about you, or no, you're not important. She's not going to know about you right now. Okay? Let me explain. Over the years, we have programmed our reticular activators to look for certain things and overlook other things. Our little gatekeeper, it never takes a rest. It is constantly working on your behalf. Have you ever driven to the grocery store and you pulled into the parking lot and you have no clue how you got there? Who's done that before? You don't remember a stop sign or the 50 houses you passed to get there. But you managed to get there, didn't you? Yes, it was your reticular activator at work because it didn't think that any of those things were important to you because you've seen them a million times. And so you tuned them out. They're still there. You still saw the stop sign and you still stopped at the stop sign, hopefully, but you never even realized that you stopped. So let's do a little exercise. Right now, I want you to look around for a few seconds. And I want you to just soak in everything that you can possibly see around you. Look around, soak it in. Every face, every color, every detail, soak it in. Got it? All right. Now, I want you to close your eyes for just a moment. And I want you to try to feel everything that you might be feeling right now. Try to feel it all, okay? Eyes closed. Feel everything that you might be feeling. Okay? You can open your eyes. How do you think you did? Think you got most of it? No, you didn't. Your reticular activator was working. You want me to prove it to you? Guarantee you there's some things you didn't notice. I bet you did not notice how your butt felt in your chair, did you? Anybody sit there and think, wow, I feel my butt in my chair right now. But did you feel it? You felt it, but you didn't notice that you felt it. But you feel it right now, don't you? We're a room full of women realizing how their butt feels in their chair. We're setting a new world record here. Did you feel how your feet felt in your shoes? You feel it now, don't you? How about how your pants felt around your waist? Crap, I don't have on pants. But anyway, now you feel it. You see, your reticular activator was at work, filtering out all those things, because here's the truth. In that 20 seconds, there is so much information bombarding your brain that you would go in the nut house if you realized all of it. It would totally make you go crazy. So your reticular activator is filtering for you all the time. Isn't that incredible? You know, a few years ago, it was on the day after Christmas, we had our truck stolen out of our driveway. We live at the end of a cul-de-sac, and they stole our truck right out of the driveway, day after Christmas. Merry Christmas. And I thought for sure that we had a one-of-a-kind truck, and I would recognize it. You see, it was a red Chevy 4x4 truck with short bed step side. I'd never seen another one like it. So I told my husband, come on, let's go drive it. I'm going to find my truck. So we drive around, and guess what I saw? A red Chevy 4x4 short bed with step side. And we chased it down. I had a few choice words for the thief. And we get up real close, And that truck had brown interior and our truck had gray interior. Now how could that be? How was that possible? That I'd never seen another one in all of those years. And now the day ours is stolen, there's another one. And another one. And another one. Why? Reticular activator. I had my reticular activator turned on to find those trucks. You know what's going to happen now? You're going to see